Okay, so we are now live, Coffee Talk with Christelle, Thursday. An amazing conversation we're going to have. It's going to be flowery, I guess, with her hat. I'm going to share her in a moment. But
I do love that cup. It is very cute.
all right, Irene, you got the live. You can share it on Facebook with those who are wanting to attend. Perfect, because I closed that tab. So we are monitoring your comments. So do share your comments. That'll be now on the live or even after. But today's conversation is actually a follow-up from last week's conversation. And one more technical thing that I need to do, recording, so we can go ahead and have this information to share in small bits so you can digest this content. So, have you ever come across something and just felt like it wasn't for you, only to later see it is in a completely different way? So today's conversation is with Tanya Kenningham with Tanya Holmes Group at LPT Realty, whom we know in the South Florida area as the realtor who wears the hat to bring you the facts. And isn't it amazing? She's going to bring some facts for us today. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight her right now so everybody can see her and spotlight. Well, actually, we're going to do at the pen. There we go. So Tanya
Hi,
is good
Crystal.
initially. And she's gonna go ahead and do introduction. But I just want to tell you, initially she was like, reverse mortgage is not for me, it's not for my clients. And now she's focusing on helping clients 65 and older, the wise one among us, and to learn about this overall strategy. So if you or someone you know is sitting on equity, but wondering what options actually make sense today, this might be where you shift a perspective and something to consider. It may not be for you, maybe for family members. So go ahead and open your ears and comment curious if you've heard of reverse mortgage but never really had it explained clearly. Now, we're giving the lender perspective. I'm not a specialist yet. I'm working towards that, but I have my specialist, Woody. But today I want to give a realtor perspective. So, Tanya, welcome, welcome. And
Thank you.
go ahead and give us an introduction of who you are, and then we'll go deeper.
Well, thank you, Crystal, also for just inviting me to have this conversation with you. I appreciate it, and it's good to be here. Hello, everyone. And yeah, I've been a realtor for, I tell people more than 15 years, but it's actually more than 20. And it's been a really great journey of helping people, assisting people with the purchase and sale of their home. But it's a lot more than that. Like one of my clients said last week, it's really helping people transition from one part, one chapter to another, from one, part of their life or, point in their life to another. So that's what I've been helping people do. And it's become multi-generational now. So that's what I love about it. First it was in the beginning 15, 20 years ago, it was just this young couple, but now that younger couple has kids, and some of those kids have kids, dependent on what stage they were in life. So that's my job, is helping people with that transition and doing it in a way which is enjoyable for them and smooth as possible.
Beautiful. And what did you, let's go ahead and you ready to dive into why reverse mortgage, why you're helping those who are 16 I mean, there's an aspect of multi-generational, but specifically a tool to help those who are needing the financing to some extent. What did you believe before about reverse mortgage?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. And it's interesting, the journey I've been on regarding this particular product. Because in the beginning, when I would hear about reverse mortgages, it was absolutely 100% all negative. It was that, the bank is trying to take away the person's home. It was, it's just not a good thing. I just pictured a lot of suffering, because that's what I felt that my clients would be going through if I were to even mention it. And I thought that's what it meant. And then I don't remember exactly where I was, but somebody had a conversation with me initially about reverse mortgages. And the thing that piqued my interest was that someone could purchase a home with a reverse mortgage. I had no idea. I just pictured the couple or the individual living in a house, and then them losing equity in their home and the bank taking the house away. That's what, or, the lender. That's how I pictured it. And then after that, when I heard that you could purchase a house with, that's what spiked my curiosity. I was like, what do you mean? And then I started to realize that not only is it good for somebody sometimes, it depends on their situation. And that was the most important thing I got about it. It depends on your circumstances. Is a reverse mortgage best for everybody? No, but it's perfect for some. So once I learned about the fact that you could purchase a home with a reverse mortgage, that started my, curiosity to the point where I learned more. And the person that's living in the house who has the reverse mortgage, yes, it can benefit them. And then the person who wants to buy another property but has quite a bit of equity maybe or just funds, they can purchase one. And it's good for some of the clients that I work with because their circumstances, it gives them relief, and it also makes their family members, once they understand it, like their kids and so on, understand that this is the right choice for their parents or their loved one based on their circumstances. And it's not about the lender taking away their home, it's about matching the circumstance that makes sense for the client or that homeowner with the product, which is the reverse mortgage.
Yes, Tony, I totally agree with you. And I think one of the reason why, well, one of the reasons people think, well, the bank is going to take the home away from you is because they're not making mortgage payments.
Correct.
Right. So you're making taxes and insurance payments. But so what happens? The bank doesn't do anything for free, right? So what happens to that? Well, that money that they would have accumulated in making a payment and reducing the principal balance at the beginning, what is it, $100 a month, if that much? But that interest and the principal, basically now we are reversing. That's why it's called reverse. And the reverse special is called what I normally do, FHA conventional, as forward financing, because you are forwarding like payment towards the principal and reducing. Now, on the reverse, the reason people think they're taking the bank is taking their house away or the title of the property, which is not true. It's the same concept. They have the collateral as their home. If something happens, yes, you're at risk, but it's the same when you're doing a forward mortgage, which is
Right.
conventional FHA. What happens though, the equity that you would have, you basically losing some of it, and you're losing some because you're not making a payment. So if you're on a fixed income, and it's tight, instead of having the tightness in your life, you now have flexibility. And you can make payments if you want to, but you don't have to. And this is calculated with an expectancy of your lifetime. So it is amazing for people, like you said. I've had clients who basically help their family members, help their elderly family. So now you're no longer having to carry that, I'm not going to say burden, but it is a financial extra that you're having to pay to help a family member to make through the in and out of every day. So that could be a solution for some. Some have great income and they don't have to worry about it. So it is not a reverse mortgage option for them. But we love the ability to give a solution, to give an option for those who have equity and maybe have the need to go ahead and change the way that they'll change their budget is. So I love
Yeah.
that you were open to that.
Yeah, and sometimes, Crystal, to be frank, sometimes it is a burden for that family member. I mean, I know you wanted to be nice about it, but sometimes it becomes a burden, and it's not like, oh, my parent or loved one is a burden to me, but it's a burden on my already impacted finances or challenging finances because of my kids that I have to take care of or my situation. So
Right.
yes, it does relieve that because that person who has that property who is doing the reverse mortgage is tapping into the equity in their home. And people tap into the equity in their home in other ways too,
Yes.
they'll do a home equity line of credit, or they might refinance. This is just another way of tapping into your equity, but that works for your situation. And people on a fixed income, especially, they need that help, and they're stressed out about how they're going to have it, and then they have this amazing asset, their home, and they can use that reverse mortgage to help them.
I totally agree with you. And then another aspect that I feel is sometimes is a mindset. And you and I, we have a background of doing mindset work, and we're both from the Denmark graduate. So that means basically we have we look at the blind spots, not just like, well, this is what's told to us and we're going with it. It's like, we're how can this really help someone? So the reason I bring that up is that a reverse mortgage, the perspective, not even reverse mortgage, in general, people don't really want to talk to me as a lender because you know what mortgage is? More MORT in French is debt, debt. Engage is you having a debt engagement towards something, right? So in general, we don't want to speak to Christelle. It's really because I can't, I have to have a solution, which is a mortgage to help me move forward. And we've grown in this process of what mortgage has done for people from going 20% down to 3% down, things of that nature, right? But the perspective is, my house is I want to have it free and clear, which is a great way if you are able to. But we
Yeah.
want to shift the perspective that the house doesn't have to just be free and clear. Like you've mentioned, people may get a line of credit to help their situation. A lot of people right now are pulling money from their 401k with hardship, or if they don't have access to a 401k, or instead of having that as a penalty that they will have with the IRS, then they access the equity using a HELOC, a line of credit. Now, it's the same thing. It used to be, some lenders might do this, but it used to be when I first started in 1998, people were getting up to 115% of the value of them. They were over leveraging themselves. A HELOC, most of the time, we can go up to 85%. So we still have room where equity, where the person is still growing their equity, but we're not maxing out. The same with reverse mortgage. We're not going to the maximum and say, oh, you have a $400,000 home. We're going to go ahead and lend you up to that. No, the calculation is very much done to protect the actual homeowner. So
Yeah.
definitely wanted to bring that. Do you want to add
Yeah.
something
Well,
to that?
yeah, thank you for saying that. And I also want to make sure that people do understand what you said, which is that, yeah, it would be ideal if somebody owned their house free and clear, didn't have a payment to make, had all of they saved and they put the money where it was supposed to from their young age and all of that, and had this perfect situation where they're just probably just living off the interest of all of the money that they have, in investments. That's the ideal situation, I think, for anybody in this world. And the reality is that that's not the situation for everybody. In fact, a lot of people are in a situation where they didn't save enough, they made mistakes, or they had circumstances happen where they just didn't have enough once they retired. And you see it all the time when you see somebody who's in their 80s and they're still working, and you can tell that they might enjoy the job, but also they might not have the ability to stop working because they don't have enough income to support them. This is another way of looking at what do I have and what's the best way of utilizing what I have to serve me while I'm here living, and that's what that person needs to ask themselves. That's why I advise some of my clients based on their circumstances to at least be educated, because when you're ignorant, which is, some people don't like that word, is just not knowing. I was ignorant when it came to this, and I just wanted to learn more. What does it harm you to be educated about it to see if it's the right fit for you?
Well, there is a reason why you wear the hat. Got to know the facts, right? And with
That's
the
right.
facts, and that's why I always tell clients when I had a client who texted me recently and said, "Send me some information." And I'm like, based on what? I need to know your situation, your scenario in order for me to give you more, because there's so many possibilities. But the
Right.
best one is how when we listen and we're able to advise you. Now, do you have a scenario or something that recently happened? Because people love stories. So tell me a story of somebody that you would like to share what happened and how you worked out for them.
Yeah, I actually do love a story because I think stories help people lean in more, and really they can relate, or at least it helps them understand. So I actually, funny, when you asked me to do this you asked me last week, and last week literally I went to visit one of my clients who I would say maybe 7 years ago, or maybe a little more. I helped her sell her house. Um, and she moved about an hour and a half away. So she moved from, just so you know, the area, from Pembroke Pines, and she moved up to Port St. Lucie. So at first she wasn't sure what she was going to do. but she knows she wanted to sell her home. And then when she learned about a reverse mortgage product, she actually got educated on it. And when she learned what it could do for her and her circumstances, that was the best fit for her. And it's interesting because she has a daughter who's older with, and she has grandkids now. And my client has grandkids now in college and beyond college from her older daughter. So this is a perfect situation where I think this story is great because she didn't have enough income, even with the sale of that house, to really live off of that plus whatever from her retirement. It still was tight. And for the 7 years that she's been now living in Port St. Lucie, she's been traveling and she's been able to go, to see her family in another country and so on. And she has a reverse mortgage. And she lives in a beautiful home, in a beautiful community. And what she says is, I love the fact that those were her words to me last week. I love the fact that I was able to do this and have this reverse mortgage because that's what gave me the ability to live this life that I'm living in this beautiful home. And it wasn't, it was just the perfect home for her. I mean, just perfect. And she was able to take some of the equity from the other house and put it down on this house and then do it as a reverse mortgage purchase. So her daughter is excited and happy, who I actually happened to have spoken with just this past weekend. She's happy because her mom still gets to be independent and have this great life and is living closer to her. And her daughter, is happy that her mom is that way, and they both get to have the full lives that they want. And I think that the people who are a lot concerned are beyond the person themselves who's getting them a reverse mortgage are always the kids, the ones they want to make sure that their parents isn't being taken advantage of and so on. And when those kids already have their situation and they're not waiting, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but not waiting for them to pass so that they can inherit. It's that's what happens. We want to pass down to our loved ones, but if that when that day comes, they can still inherit. It's just that, yes, the lender has to be paid for what's owed, but they can still go ahead and still whatever other equity is available, it still goes to the family. So I think that's one of the things that was an eye opener for some people. They just think that the house is going to be taken away. No, the lender does have to be paid, but the house doesn't have to be taken away. And a lot of times the children end up, when a loved one passes away, the heirs end up selling anyway. So it's just, that's what a lot of them end up doing because they have no intention of living in that house. So this is all what is possible even in this situation with my client, because her house is, in a position where it still has equity, so hopefully that
Yes, I
story
think
resonates.
that's definitely it does, and it covers so many points that is the freedom, the independence that the loved one, the one that we want to share for to take care of, but at the same time we have our own obligation. I definitely love how you pointed out that the daughter loves the fact that her mom has her freedom, moved closer, and owns her home. She is
Yes,
in her home.
yes,
It's just not like, hey, she moved into an apartment, so she took the equity and leave off the equity. Actually, she still lives in her home because that is a solution people can take. It's like, I'm just going to go ahead and sell my house, take the money and leave off of that. Well, that money can go away pretty quickly, and you're still not earning equity because while you still own the house is still appreciating as long as the market is moving that direction.
right.
You still have an asset. And when you mentioned, because I think that is the key block for many, including myself, when I never really looked into it, even though as a lender, because it was an introduction when I started in as a processor. We talked about it, but we didn't really go into it. It was like you're losing. It's the reverse of what we want to do. It's like I'm supposed to really just have my home free and clear. And plus, I'm from the islands where people pay off their homes. Their goal is definitely not to be in debt. But America, it is a little bit more for consumption. We have more desires and I know that some islanders don't, but it's a little bit different mindset, right? We don't go through things the same way. But in America, there's consumption, the cost of things are maybe greater. It's just I think it's just a great tool to look into. And I am not going to say it is for everyone, like you've mentioned before. So that is the biggest misconception where you just want to go ahead and place someone into this loan so you can take their home. That is not true. It's really to provide a solution that is valuable and not just for their homeowner, but the family members. And I love the fact that you mentioned when the time comes, because we're all going to pass away at some point. When that loved one passes away, there is still equity. We just order the payoffs, and that's it. And the difference is what goes to the heirs. So it's still the same process. But definitely want to, is there anything else you want to add? Because I know we've covered the misconception, the amazing story of how people can actually take advantage of this program just by even running the numbers. Is there anything else you want to add regarding reverse mortgage?
Well, I think also that person who's listening, who is the loved one, or the child of that parent, they can also, if they want to keep that house in the family, for example, they can also, somebody in the family they can purchase the home. It's just them getting their own loan, so they'll get their own loan, and they'll just pay off the bank, and they'll also be, if that's the goal, is, to keep it in the family. It's not that you can't, it's just that you have to be in a situation where you can. But a lot of the times, the whole reason why this is happening is because sometimes that parent doesn't want to be the burden we talked about to the family, to the kids who already have their situation going on. So this allows them to live freely, because some people say, I might have this house, and it's an asset, but I really want to live. I really want to travel. I really want to do all of these things. And it's not just about what I'm leaving to my kids. It's about how I live my life today. Am I living my life to my fullest? And is this a means to, is this a way for me to have that, accomplish that? And I think the most important thing I want to say about this is that just get yourself educated. I have another client who, I think it was 3 weeks ago, I just got them, I just had them get educated about their options. And one of them was, is a reverse mortgage right for them? And so what were they happy about? They were happy about the information, that they were educated. Now they can make an informed decision. Now they're figuring out whether or not they're going to do it or not. But now they have not just one option, but multiple options. And the question is, which one are they going to do? And the one that makes the most sense for them and their circumstances. So I think the best advice I can give to anybody out there is just get educated and don't go, oh no, it's horrible. Find out if it's right for you. And the only way you're going to find out is by reaching out to Christelle and asking her what it means in your circumstance, or in your parents' circumstance, or loved ones.
Definitely, I echo everything you just said. Running the numbers is the most important part and seeing if it works with the long-term goal. So Tanya, I love the fact that you have taken on the helping homeowners, because many people think also that reverse mortgage is only available for refinance, but it's not the case. It's also available for purchase.
Yes.
And you are a testament of people using the program to help them, not just later, but upfront to be able to qualify, because qualification is even easier on a reverse mortgage than a forward mortgage or conventional or FHA. How can people connect with you? Is there an area you specialize in South Florida? Tell us a little bit more about you and how people can connect and work with the realtor who brings the facts.
Yeah, so I specialize in helping people purchase and sell, or make that transition to another home or another chapter in Broward County, as well as Palm Beach County, all the way up to Port St. Lucie. That's my wheelhouse. A little bit of Dade County, but mostly Broward and North. And then I have realtor partners who I connect my clients with, because That can seem a little broad and a little far, but I have realtor partners in areas that are further out so that I can connect them, my clients to them, so that they're still supported and helped. And I'm just involved wherever they need me along the way. And I do that not just in the state of Florida, but outside of Florida as well. I have realtor partners. And what is most important about what I do, other than helping people find what they need in the way that is best for them and help making sure they're educated. I go beyond that because I want, sometimes I tell people, sometimes making a move right now might not be the right choice. And people are shocked to hear that because it's not about the transaction, it's about what's right for them and making sure that that relationship that I start or have been building continues to just get stronger and stronger until they are ready, if they're not ready now. So I have deep relationships inside of my clientele in terms of the mother who's referred me to the child, who's referred me to the grandchild. I think I mentioned that earlier, who's referred me to the friend. And then when you look, they're 10 purchase and sales deep in inside of that one relationship that I started that developed into many relationships. So I tell people I do my business by relationship. It's not transactional by any means. It's all about the relationship. And I'm just glad that I can make a living that way because my actual purpose is to be a contribution to others. So if my purpose, I'm living my purpose by being a contribution inside of connecting people, helping people buy and sell a home, wherever that is, that I do that from this, from wearing this hat, you know? So I'm really excited about the fact that I get to do that and be a contribution in that way. And it's about the relationship. And that relationship just helps me make a living doing something that I enjoy.
Amazing. Love it. And then if you, for instance, you are not currently looking to purchase or sell your home, I still invite you to follow Tanya Homes on Facebook and Instagram on all her social. We'll go ahead and put all of her handles
Thank
in
you.
on the comments because every how often do you actually do the inspiration? Like she goes on a walk, and that's where I was like, you know what, I need to reach out to her because I love the word. I think it was the possibilities. Eh, how often do you do your walk? Is it whenever you feel inspired to do it, or is it
A
a
minimum
weekly?
of 2 days a week. A
Okay.
minimum of 2 days a week, I do what I call my morning walk and I talk about what's on my mind. And it just kind of blossomed. Like one day, I forget how long I've been doing this now. I was like, let me talk about what's on my mind. And then I got so many people just saying to me, Tanya, I love your morning walk. That message that you said really, really helped me. And I was like, every time somebody tells me that, Crystal, I go, really? Even when you called me and said my possibility, what I talked about possibility, I was like, really? I'm
Yeah.
always surprised, but my morning walk has really nothing to do with real estate, really. It's just about what's on my mind and how maybe it can be of value to somebody out there. Again, it's about me being a contribution to others. So thank you for inviting others to join me on my morning
Yeah.
walk. I did one before we did this meeting this morning.
I think there was one that I recently saw. It was about pancake and salt. It's like, what is
Oh,
she talking about? I didn't get a chance to actually go into it, but I saw the title.
you gotta
But
listen to that one. It's hysterical.
okay.
It's about how we settle for things, and it's a true story that happened to me. We talked about stories. Watch that story. You're gonna laugh.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted you guys to come and check out Tanya's page because it's not about just real estate. She is living her purpose. And even if it means to pivot because she's realizing, you know what? I've been doing real estate in a certain way. Now I want to go ahead and focus on helping a certain demographic for a reason while still going knee deep into the relationships and helping others, of course. So I love the journey that you're on, and you're not just inspiring to sell, buy homes, you inspire people to live their best life. And you said it several times in this share today is, allowing the wiser, the ones who are 62 and older, the ones who basically may need that freedom of having extra money available to continue to live. It is to me very sad to see when people are just like, well, I guess this is it. Like really
Yeah.
living in the despair of like, I can't do anything else when they're sitting on so much let's just say possibilities. It could be about cash available in equity, but it could be other things. And I love, and I'm just gonna, I'm no longer a landmark I'm a graduate of that, but I love how this really instilled in me the world of possibilities. Also, what I don't know that I don't know, and go being open to like going from the blinders to just opening and just see. It may be a yes, it may be a no, but just by opening myself to see what's available, what's out there, by connecting. I mean, Tanya and I think we've known each other since I moved to Florida, which was in 2018, 19. I think in
Mm-hmm.
networking, realizing landmark background, a lot of people in South Florida have gone to landmark, but it's a mindset that even as you work with a realtor who has that mindset, that way of viewing life, you know you have a friend by your side.
Thank you.
So just want to say thank you, Tanya, for coming and joining me on this live,
Thank you.
sharing your experience, but also specifically as we're talking about homeowners who are looking for solutions with the equity that they have. It is very much important nowadays with all the higher costs, right, of
Yeah.
seeing what that could do to others. So connect with Tanya down before her walk for her inspiration and stay with the facts that she shares from her realtor hat.
Thank you. Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you.